And now our speaker is Reverend Thomas. I'm sure he has some nice little gold nuggets to spread around that wonderful wisdom of his.
Thank you, Reverend Philip. Appreciate that introduction, setting the bar high. So now I just have to reach it or leap over it. Divine Creator, Father, Mother God, we come before you once again with open hearts and open minds, seeking thy divine wisdom and guidance in our lives. May that which comes through your speaker this day be for the highest and best good of each one hearing this message. Amen and amen. We're going to continue what I have presented the last couple of times. I selected writing from my morning writings that have been inspired at various times, and then we'll have a discussion. This was given to me on the 11th of August, 2016, and the title is Chameleon World. It's a chameleon world we experience. It becomes whatever we choose. This we choose part is key. Perhaps it's not an easy concept to believe. Our lying eyes deceive us. As A Course in Miracles teaches, we can only see the past. From our human helplessness, we feel victim to forces beyond any hope of control. Dr. Wayne Dyer had a book and lecture series, You'll See It When You Believe It. Dr. Dyer found the secret key to open the door to a new world of possibilities. How easy it is to abdicate our responsibility for what we experience. To use a popular term, we give our power away. We proxy our vote to a consensus will and then accept as proof of real the reality that springs forth. Another popular expression is, be the peace you wish to see in the world. This embraces a universal law of cause and effect. Every destructive hurricane has at its center a neutral eye from which the chaos and destruction can be observed but not experienced. Inner peace can be found meditating on a mountaintop, separated from the world. However, it is far more useful when employed in the messiness of human life. Drama may play out all around us to observe but not join in. We then become a beacon of hope, an example others may wish to follow. Inner peace is a bright, bright light, most often seen by others who have it too, but also by those beginning to seek it. A knowing smile from a stranger in a crowd or a captured gaze may be the clues you notice. Nothing more is required. Acknowledgement is enough. It confirms to you and to them, I am not the only one. If there is more to do, you will know it. To have inner peace is to be open to your inner guidance. It is easy to react to fears. We have fears. It's part of being human. Primarily, we experience what we already know. A fearful world proves itself, as will all other versions. This is why peace-filled practice is transforming. As we nurture and grow peace within, Our vision expands to show us an alternate world that was there all along. The colorblind do not see the full spectrum of colors that others see. Deer see the hunter's bright orange as brown that blends with the background. That's very different from the literal red flag it presents to human eyes. If deer ever developed an expanded vision to include the red spectrum, how different their response to the hunter's presence. When we find inner peace, then and only then does a peaceful world emerge from an abstract concept and wishful thought into reality with real potential. A reality we now support energetically. What we believe to be true will prove its validity to us through our observations and experience. Only then can we own and live within that truth. We do not create a new world. We merely see what was always there. Our kinship with the creative force behind it all is borne out in our ability to choose the world we experience. We choose as a musician chooses. We create as a musician creates. The piano and the keys to play it were crafted by another with the skills to do so. The untrained musician is presented with silent, infinite potential. Silent until choice and action takes place. By trial and error, sound becomes melody. Training accelerates the process, but it's earned through experience. Skill develops, and music is created, newly born into the world. Our experience of this grand creation is unfolding according to our choosing. Will we bang the keyboard as a child, making great noise and disharmony? Or will we discover the harmony of keys and chords to create a symphony?
Very well articulated. I really liked how you talked about how the world is outpictured in the way that we agree to collectively or individually.
It begins to explain a lot of what's going on as we as we observe other points of view that perhaps are very contrary to what we see. For me, it provides an explanation, and that allows it to be less fearful, and a less fearful experience about the differences of the way others view the world. In that, the most powerful thing I can do is to not participate in expressing more fear. It doesn't matter what we're fearful of. The energy is the same, and it contributes to a fearful experience in reality. And everything about gatherings like this and our training and our expectations is about finding and nurturing that center of that divine center of unconditional love, and that should be our reaction in every circumstance. When Jesus presented the idea of turning the other cheek and praying for your enemies, that expresses this very powerful concept that when someone harms you, praying for their well-being is a more powerful than response than retribution. And when we not only understand that intellectually, but we embrace that and live that, is when we are coming into our own power and contributing the most, and being aware of the energy that we're projecting in every moment of our day with the way we react or respond to things is key to what it is we are contributing. And it's easy to succumb to the mainstream, and it doesn't take a majority to shift things the other way. Love is the power, and the absence of that is much, much weaker.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. I think it can be easy to slip in and out of consciousness about what you're contributing to in your own thoughts or conversations. And sometimes myself, I'm more or less conscious of that. Or I'll put something out there and then I'll realize, well, that was a negative contribution of energy.
You have something you'd like to share, Nancy?
I was just thinking of when he was talking about being fearful in life, and life brings us that fear. And I mean, for me, life is very fearful. So, and it makes sense to change the thought about I mean, my reaction to fear is not good, and so I experience it almost on a daily basis. And when my husband had surgery Friday, I was real fearful, driving him. But God got me through it. I prayed and meditated on it, and I was able to drive all that distance to get him there and bring him back, even though I was, inside very fearful, of that. And then when he got home, I thought I had to take care of him like I did my dad, and I'm not ready for that. And then I started getting angry with him with everything, and I didn't know it at the time until the next day when I woke up. I thought, yeah, see, he's on his own. I mean, he is doing everything. I don't have to take care of him because he's doing everything. I was thinking I had to do it again, and I'm not ready. And what came to me was God showed me that I didn't need to be angry or fearful, because when I'm fearful, I usually turn angry, at everything. And it showed me, as soon as I got up, he was up and around walking, with his, crutches and stuff. And he was, doing his medication right. And I thought, thank you, God, okay, so I can be happy. I don't, yeah, I shouldn't be so fearful of being happy, and which I have been, fearful of being,
Amen.
Happy. And then I don't have to be a caretaker again, so soon. And the anger just kind of dispersed.
Yeah.
After I realized it, and I got the thought, from God, in my head, you don't need to, he's got it, and I'm not making you do this again. I love you.
These changes like that, away from being fearful, are incremental like this. And this is a wonderfully beautiful experience you shared with us. about the reality presented itself clearly as different from the one you were projecting when in fear. And so you were able to let go of that and back off. And so it's baby steps like that. It's one of those experiences at a time. And each time you do that, you will more quickly come to that place with the next fearful thing you're faced with. And these are steps in empowering yourself to not feel out of control about that, because primarily that's what we're afraid of, are the things we can't control. And as we begin to accept the reality that there are powerful parts of ourselves that we are in control of, and they are the most important contributor to what's going on. There are things that are going to play out regardless of what we do, but our reaction to it, our state of mind, our state of emotion, the whether we're at peace or just really caught up in the storm and afraid, we really have almost complete choice over that part of it. So let each one of these experiences be the teacher for you. They will keep proving to you that this works and this is right, and you can take control of this for yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, and blessings to you.
Yeah. Thank you, and blessings to you.
You have anything to add, Sharon?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, the whole fear thing, and I think that always hits home with me as well. And it's stressful because I feel like it's such a huge waste of time that I, wasted a lot of time on worrying or fearful of things. And I mean, I do it. I still do it, but I don't like it. So, I don't know. I guess I just, there are days like we all have where we just feel really overwhelmed, and there's just so much to do, and taking the time to just to soothe yourself is just not there. So, you just feel like you're, it'll get better one of these days. It'll get better. It'll get calmer, a little quieter, or you won't be.
It's not a binary switch that's one way or the other. It's an incremental, growth kind of a process that we're involved in, and we make some progress, and then we get a tougher choice.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
tougher experience, and then we see if we can make the same progress with that. And it's important not to see these as failures or setbacks. It's just that the movement is in the right direction, and take heart in that, and you don't contribute to so much to sustaining the current experience. You more quickly go through the process, because there's a process that we go through. It's we understand that there's a process, a grieving process, for instance, that we go through. There are steps and stages, but in this learning process that we're involved with, in embracing love over the absence of that, there's also a process each time we're presented with a new challenge. And when we can see what is happening in the moment in that light, then the little incremental movement that happens in the midst of that, we may be able to actually see and count as steps forward, and be heartened and encouraged by that. And each time we do that, I feel like it gets easier to do the next one, because we have this experience and the steps get more familiar. In the earlier time, when we haven't seen clearly the incremental steps, it just seems almost like a jump that we work on it, and then things get better. But when you can see the incremental steps, then you can see that, okay, things are moving in the right direction. And it's a feedback loop that encourages the process, and it makes it happen more quickly. And I was reminded of a definition I heard of worry years ago, of praying for what you don't want. And as simplistic as that is, it does kind of embrace a universal truth. And so anytime I find myself trying to do anything that might be defined as worry, that comes to mind to make me say, that's not what I want to pray for. So I've got to change what I'm thinking here.
Being busy and doing, I think just feeling like you've got things accomplished contributes to the better well-being feeling that tomorrow's another day, and I will take that day as it comes. That sounds like something my grandmother would have said, but yeah, for real. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, if you try to mentally look forward to a whole week worth of stuff, you're just going to sit down and say, I can't do anything. So yeah, you got to do it.
The old, you remind me of the old thing about what's the difference between eating a cherry pie and eating an elephant? Yeah, there is no difference. You eat them one bite at a time. And so when we're presented with an elephant, it's, you can't swallow the whole thing, nor can you swallow a pie. So it's one bite at a time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good.
I recently heard a tip on overwhelm and stress, on coping with it, to do one task at a time mindfully and kind of make that your not necessarily meditation, but mindfully focusing on one thing at a time, because that's all you can really do anyway. And you get through the mountain of whatever it is.
It makes me think of the Zen, the Zen of like washing dishes. So you're gonna, you are gonna wash every dish thoroughly and mindfully and put it down. And I think about that a lot. That whole idea, exactly what you said. Yeah, because I tend to, I don't know about anybody else, but I tend to get ahead of myself. I finish something and I'm already on to the next thing in my head. And then I mess up what I'm doing right now because I'm thinking ahead to the next thing. And you're doing step by step.
All you have to do is catch yourself trying to put the milk in the cupboard or something like that, because your mind is, you're on something that you're not at yet. You're not mindful of what you're doing in the moment, and you'll do something as stupid as that, And to me, that's a powerful reminder to try to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Because even simple tasks like, putting something away will be in the wrong place, and, you've got to, you can't be in the future and the present at the same time. One of those is going to lose out. So
is that what happened with the keys, Reverend Philip? When you were talking about you couldn't find the keys?
Oh, I deviated from my routine.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll get you too.
And whenever I lose something or misplace it, I go back to that routine and I walk through it and I look at all the potential places where I could have gone off script.
Right.
And I look in those places. And with the keys, I had looked every place I could think of. And then I walked and I walked through it again. And no, I didn't walk through it again. I went through a different process because I piled stuff on the countertop for recycling. So when I gathered that stuff up, that's when I found the keys. So, and I had still followed the plan. There was just a different routine that interfered with it. So, but if I might add a suggestion,
Okay.
You naturally worry. That's just who you are. I would just, accept that and be mindful of when you begin to obsess.
Mhm. Okay.
I mean, we have to one of the things we have to learn to achieve harmony with ourselves is to learn who we are and then accept who we are, and then we can make progress. So all these emotions, feelings, moods that we experience, they're all messages to ourselves. And all we have to do is learn the language.
Mhm. Good advice.
So
Well, and you're definitely not alone, Sharon.
I know, I was just gonna say the same thing, Sharon. You're not alone.
You're in good company.
Well, thank you for that. It makes me feel a little better.
oh yeah, I do. I know better, and I still do it. I accept it, but when I start obsessing, then I have to look at what I'm holding on to.
Well, I think that plays right into the message about, you said, flushing things away. And I think that kind of makes a little more sense now about getting rid of some of this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Up here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh. Hmm.
Beth, do you have anything you would like to add?
Not really. I mean, we've all been wherever everyone's been talking about. I know I've been in a real slump regarding my spiritual work, and instead of beating myself up over the head, it's like, okay, you're just in a slump.
Mhm.
Roll over on your back and float down the creek and let the creek run it, instead of me trying to push myself into something.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Great.
Sandy, do you have anything you'd like to share, to offer?
Well, I pretty much agree with everyone's comments today, and how easy it can be for fear to take us over. And um, and I like everyone's, the things everyone does that we've talked about in the group today to help, keep that in abeyance, and keep it at a level that we can work with, because fear is debilitating, and it totally can stop you in your tracks. Um, and so I find some of the things we were talking about, I find myself doing too, and trying not to focus on it too much, because when we're so consumed by the fear, we're giving it the power. And if we can take away the fear, we can take away the power that it gives it to perhaps even to an ultimately negative result, so it's hard, but I try to do the same things that we've all been talking about, is just kind of keeping it at bay, and trying to look at things more positively, and was a great talk today. Thank you, Reverend Thomas. It was a excellent talk. Thank you.
Yes, it was. I'd like to offer something before I let Reverend Thomas close things up. He began with meditation. And one of the questions I ask people is, especially those who say they meditate all the time and such, is I ask them if they can meditate in a crowd. And the reason why is because when you learn to meditate within the crowd, you've got all these distractions and you're able to meditate, you're able to discover harmony within chaos.
It's interesting that you brought that up. My son actually brought that up this last week, that very concept of being meditative in the chaos and finding that meditative energy in the midst.
Reverend Thomas.
Okay, I will close with this idea that it's all spiritual, keying off of some of what Beth had said. And it was, that was something that also came to me in a writing many years ago. And I realized that I was separating my spiritual life from my mundane life. And what's come clear to me since then is that the life that appears to be spiritual are the courses that we take, the studies that we do, the meditation that we do, the praying, the coming together with things like this is all clearly in that world of spirituality. But it is like the to use an athletic analogy, it's like the team, or even a musical analogy. It's the practice sessions. It's where you learn the skills and all the rest of that. And the mundane world is the game. It's where you test what you've been practicing. It's the place where you can apply all of the things that you've been learning. It too is spiritual. And it has this important function for us to begin to test and try and see the results of all of the things that we have been learning in the safer, more confined, more controlled environment that we would call spiritual. So it's all spiritual. I leave all of that with my love and blessings, and I thank you for your contributions and your kind attention. Reverend Philip.
Thank you. See, told you he would have some wonderful nuggets there for us.